everybody? This is Sympathetic Accent Romianer, and as I promised, if Redundant Monster reach 100 views, that video will get a behind the scenes. So let's go to every individual monster. For Cerberus, I just took a picture of a poodle and cup, and then put the PNG of the heads of a chihuahua and a pug. For the rock, I just googled the rock and then just showed me a picture of Dwayne Johnson's head on the body of a giant eagle. For the chimera, I used the deep sea chimera, which is a cartilaginous fish that's related to sharks and rays. For the werewolf, I picked the game werewolf, or as it is more commonly known, the mafia. For the Kraken, I wanted to use its real life basis and used a giant squid. For the Cyclops shark, I used the albino Cyclops shark thing. If you don't know it, there was a news story of an albino baby Cyclops shark, more specifically a bull shark. For the Wyvern, I just thought of the poster of a foreign movie, maybe. For Nessie, it's there. She's there. As you can see, Nessie is fighting Godzilla. More specifically, Godzilla from the Godzilla the series. And yes, Nessie is canon to Godzilla lore. For Typhon, I used the Marvel villain movie, maybe called Titan, maybe I don't know. For the Thunderbird, I used the Ford Thunderbird because it's just hilarious to think. For the Minotaur, I use some kind of brand, maybe. I don't know. Maybe. For the Leviathan, I use the Reaper Leviathan from Subnautica because I just like it. For the Griffin, I use the Griffin family from Family Guy because honestly, lately I've been watching a lot of Family Guy clips, not gonna lie to y'all. For the Lambton Worm, I use a children's book, maybe. I don't know. For the Goblin Shark, for the Goblin, I use the Goblin Shark. For Azidaka, I use this anime guy from some video game. I don't know. For the Fomorians, I use this poster. I think. For the Mengwa, I just took a picture of a living room and then copy pasted a picture of a tabby cat and made it look big. For the Sphinx, I used the Sphinx cat. It's obvious. For the Wendigo, I used this meme I found when where the meme goes by the way when Dasi, I think. I don't know. For Cthulhu, I used the children's book C is for Cthulhu. Yes, an eldritch abomination that can end worlds is in a children's book. For Hopkinsville Goblins, I use this photo and then some PNG of a Pokemon whose name I forgot. For the Bunyip, I use Bert the Bunyip, an animatronic from an Australian theme park, maybe. For the Nemean Lion, I use an art of a lion in a colosseum because lions did roam Europe at some point. For Spring Hill Jack, I used a comic, maybe. For the Ant-Man, or more commonly known, or the Myrmidons, I used this logo, I think. For the skunk ape, I used the stinky monkey or ape because I like to always consider the skunk ape the original stinky. For the Tethys Lake monster, I used this comic I think called Junior Skeptic, in which a couple of guys found the Tethys monster maybe. For the Nanly Bear, I think it's the cover for some novel or book or children's book. For the Beast People, I use the poster for the adaptation of The Island of Dr. Moreau. The Mongolian Deathworm is again another poster. The Tarask is traditional festival thing, I think. For the Yowie, I originally wanted to use the Yowie chocolate brand, but then I figured out that I cannot do it because it's not really a PNG. So I picked some Microsoft Word thing. For the Chupacabra, I picked a bilingual children's book. That's it. For the Jersey Devil, I just googled Jersey Devil and then put it there. For the Great Aliens, I originally wanted to use Roger from American Dad, but then it happened that I cannot put him there. So I used Paul from Paul and the Infamous It's Probing Time thing. For the Manticore, it's from Yu-Gi-Oh! Maybe. For the Grim Reaper, I use Ryuk from Death Note. You know, Death Note, that series where the guy has a literal death note when where he writes someone's names, they die from a heart attack. Yeah. Then we have Yukiona, the snow spirit. I don't wanna Google her name, it will be too obvious, so I put an ice sculpture of a woman there. Next we have the were tiger. Possibly this guy could be a tiger whisperer. Maybe. Next we have Gog Magog. I think it's another festival thing. Maybe. Honestly, I don't know. Next, we have Moby D. For Moby D, I used the picture of a beluga whale because an albino sperm whale would just be too obvious. For the Armenian boar, I used the picture of a boar that some guys shoot. That some guys shot. Then the Jormungandr. For him, I used his character from God of War. For Cetus, honestly, I don't know. I think I possibly left out Cetus in that video, not gonna lie to you. Then there's Sekhmet. It's just a carving of her. The harpy is just literally a harpy eagle. For the Hydra, I used the Hydra genus, which is a type of almost microscopic animal that can regrow tentacles, I think, just like the Hydra. For the Oni, I googled the word Oni mask, but then it just shows a picture of a girl wearing an Oni mask. For the Periton, I use its sprite from Dungeons and Dragons. For the Tokoloshe, I use this poster, I think, from another movie. For the Phoenix, I use this illustration of Rodan, more specifically the Monsterverse Rodan, from the Godzilla Monsterverse universe. For Mokelembembe, I use the African sauropod dinosaur Nigerosaurus. For the Golem, I use the Snow Golem and Iron Golem from Minecraft. For the Nakalavi, I use this thumbnail from some video I possibly won't very like. It's about an SCP called SCP-31545 maybe, or as it's called, the Orcadian Horseman. Next we have the Stymphalian birds. I also forgot about them. If I I forgot. I remember now. If I remember, they're from the Ice and Fire Minecraft mob. For Talos, I used the character named Talos from Captain Marvel. Fun fact, me and my sister once watched Captain Marvel, and I actually kind of like it. For Cyborg, I don't want to use Cyborg from DC, that would be too obvious, so I just picked a guy with a robotic hand, or prosthetic hand to be exact. For the Marionette Goat Man, I used that picture, I think. You know that picture? You've seen it online somewhere, yeah. For the vampire, I used Lady Dimitrescu from Resident Evil Village. That's it. For Baba Yaga, I just googled a picture of her hut, and yes, that's her hut. She lives there. So yeah. For Anubis, I was going to the odd ones out, and then I just saw a picture of James holding a picture of him, and then I was like, okay. To be honest, I don't even think James know that Anubis is a god. I just think he goes like, "Oh, okay, that's humanoid. That would be a monster." Yeah, that's it. For troll, I use the troll face. It's very obvious. For the black shark, I use a picture of a black dog, maybe a chihuahua, maybe I don't know. For the Tengu, I use the Tengu mask emoji. For the basilisk, I use the genus basilisk, also known as the basilisk lizard. For reptoids, I use the Dilophoman from the Jurassic World Project Evolution theme ride. And yes, those things are scary even to look at. Now about gargoyles. Hmm, Maybe I'll come back to gargoyles maybe. Next, we have the Yeti. For the Yeti, I use the Goosebumps novel, The Abominable Snowman of Pasadena. Fun facts, I actually kind of like Goosebumps. I, in fact, have an Indonesian copy of It Came From Beneath the Sink. Hmm. For the Gorgon, I use the Gorgonops, or Gorgonopsid, a type of mammal-like reptile, maybe, that looks like a mix between a lizard and a saber-toothed cat. Also, if you're wondering where that picture is from, it's from the British sci-fi drama Primeval, which is made by the same company that made Walking with Dinosaurs. Next, we have the salamander. I use the fire salamander because theming. Then we have the ghouls. I think this is from the movie Ghoulies. I think I never watched that movie. I'm maybe too young to watch it after all. For Cadoblepus, I used the wildebeest because I think it's the most obvious basis for it. It has shaggy hair. It always looks down, literally, and are described to have a bovine-like silhouette. For Kamazads, I use the Titanus Kamazads from the graphic novel Kingdom Come. And yes, a Mayan god from Mayan mythology is canon to King Kong lore. For Frankenstein's monster, I use the Toho movie Frankenstein Conquers the World, which is made by the same company that produces Godzilla movies. For the Owlman, I just use this picture claim people saw online maybe. For the Mogar, I used its sighting maybe. For the Vetala, I used a picture of them from the TV show Supernatural. Then we have the Mummy, which is not again Goosebumps, but a new cover. Then let's go to the big fish, or should I said the big fish corpse, the zombie. Now the zombie is interesting. So let me tell you a story. I was back from my vacation and I was looking for my recommendation, and then I saw this video called "My Green Girlfriend is a Zombie and She is Too Cute." I watched it. 9 minutes later, I like it. I thought of it no more. I revisited the channel, and then the channel banner was that picture of of the zombie took. I put in that video. I looked at it later, and then I uploaded a new zombie girl webcomic video. I clicked it, and then hell happened. Not gonna lie to ya. Sometimes I used to. eh, so, Back then, every time I look at the picture, I would just scream like, like that. I kind of resisted my urge to be scared of it, and now I'm just mildly uneased by it. If you're wondering what the webcomic is called, it's called Zomcom or maybe like that. Yeah, possibly, maybe. Then the Boogeyman. I used the wrestler, WWE wrestler known as the Boogeyman, because, duh. Then we have the Congamatos, or Congamato. For for them, I use the Marabou sword because according to Wikipedia, their relatives are what spawned the myths. I'll get back to banshees. For Bigfoot, I use the cringe movie Son of Bigfoot because the movie sucks. For the Gargantua, I use the Toho movie War of the Gargantuas, which is a sequel to Frankenstein Conquers the World. For Huitzilopochtli, I use a hummingbird because the Aztecs believe if you die as a war soldier, you get reincarnated as a hummingbird, and so I use the animal most associated with that god. Next, we have Scylla and Charybdis. Fun fact, when I made that video, I honestly forgot to put Scylla in it. More specifically, Titanus Scylla from the Godzilla Monsterverse lore. Then we have the Piazza, which is just a picture of it in Stone Mountain, Georgia, maybe. Then we have Mr. Hyde, more specifically, the strange case of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. Fun fact: one of my friends actually said this is their favorite part of the movie of the video. For Grendel, I used the picture of another foreign movie maybe. For for Gremlins, I used the Mogwai from Gremlins because I think it just looks cute. For the Ogopogo, I used the cover of another book maybe. For Sleipnir, I used a logo of that looks like a eight-legged horse. For Orthrus, I used the taxidermy body of a two-headed dog. Yeah. For Fenrir, I used the head witch's giant wolf form from Gendy Tartakovsky's Primal. You know, the Gendy Tartakovsky, the guy that made the original Powerpuff Girls. Yeah, that. For Mothman, isn't it's another cover or or poster maybe. For Lamia, again Yu-Gi-Oh. For Chinese dragon, I use what is called in my country Barong Sai. It's basically a bunch of guys in a dragon suit and then they just do tricks. For Scorpion Man, I use a scorpion from Mortal Kombat because the for Shiva, again it's Family Guy. Honestly, I don't know if it's meant to be Shiva or Vishnu. I just kind of put it there because that. Then we have Echidna. I used the picture of a real life echidna, possibly a short beaked echidna. For ogre, I use Shrek because it's very obvious. For a siren, I used a literal air siren. Yeah. For skeleton warriors, I used a classic, the spooky, scary skeletons. You know that song? It goes spooky, scary skeletons and shivers down your spine. Yeah, that's classic. For Morgan LeVay, I used a historical picture of her. For the Nagas, I used a picture of an Indian cobra because apparently when Buddha sit in the rain, a cobra protected him from the rain. For a centaur, I used a badly rendered picture of a centaur costume. Originally, I was going to put the centaurs from regular show. For the wraith, I used the wraith from Dead by Daylight because back then I used to watch a lot of Dead by Daylight things. For the headless horseman, I used the horseless headless horseman from the Scream Fortress 2 Halloween update. I don't know. Here's a Reddit. Apparently, the gargoyles are based on the gargoyle gecko because of their similar looking body body texture. I think I don't know. As for the banshees, I used a picture, a poster maybe from a TV series. I don't know. Well, that's all. Hopefully you can hopefully you guys enjoy this video again. Thanks for 100 plus views on that movie, on that video I made, and goodbye. This is sad pathetic taxidermy otter signing off.